if the owners have to stop paying, I know I've said this a million times, but the owners have to stop paying mediocrity for mediocrity. Stop paying these average quarterbacks. And I'm not saying Dak is average because he's better than that, but you've got to stop paying like Daniel Jones $40 million a year. Why is Daniel Jones making $40 million bucks? That's what drives the price up on these other quarterbacks. You know, that's what drives the price up is when owners like the Giants say, oh, well, we're going to give Daniel Jones $40 million. Well, if I'm a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow, I'm like, if Daniel Jones is making 40, I got to make 55. And then there we go. And that's what happens. That's literally what happens. So, I love it, but the Giants stink, so I'm not going to stop bashing the Giants. They paid a pedestrian quarterback who stinks $40 million. That's why the Giants aren't any good. They got bad management, bad ownership. They're a bad team. They can turn it around, though. Got to get Daniel Jones out of your locker room, though. Not a good quarterback. They paid the wrong guy, is what happened with the Giants. They paid Daniel Jones and didn't pay Saquon. The locker room is looking at ownership like, what? What are y'all doing? Like, why are you guys paying Daniel Jones? Why didn't you pay Saquon? And that's the problem. You get it in the locker room, and guys, they know who's good and who's not. And they're like, we did what? We're paying Daniel Jones what? And y'all are fighting Saquon? And that's another question. Where does Saquon end up? I don't think he's coming back to the Giants, even though he says he wants to be there. I don't think the Giants want to keep him. So where does he end up? The Raiders? The Cowboys? Cowboys do need a running back. And he would fit in very nicely in Dallas. He would fit in very nicely in Dallas. He would fit in nice in Baltimore. A lot of people are saying Houston. He'd fit in good in Houston. He'd fit in good with Philly. I mean, there's places that Saquon can go. Now, if Saquon has illusions that he's going to be making $12, $13 million a year, he's out of his mind. He's injury prone, and the running back market doesn't call for that anymore. But $8, $9 million over 3 years, he can go get that deal. He could go get that deal. So we'll see, though. We'll see what happens. I'll be interested to see where Saquon Barkley goes. Anybody interested where Saquon goes? I'm sure they are. Derrick Henry to Dallas. He got a house here. He works out in Dallas in the offseason, and he has a house in Dallas already. So it makes sense. It makes sense. Will he do it? I don't know. But they definitely have the need. They could sign Pollard back to a deal that said, hey, Pollard, you're a better complimentary back and third down back. You are not a number one guy. So they could sign Pollard to that and see what happens. I think that's the best thing that should happen. Good question by my man, Matt Hasselbring. What kind of contract will Baker get? $40 million? Probably. If Daniel Jones can get $40 million, Baker Mayfield has accomplished more than Daniel Jones. So, yes, probably in the $40 to $42 million range a year for Baker. That's what I'm guessing. So, I love what Baker has control over his future right now. I love that fact that he does. So, how has Baker accomplished more? Well, Baker went to Pittsburgh and won a playoff game. Did Daniel Jones do that? And if you're saying that Pittsburgh is the same as Minnesota, I will laugh in your face. And he went to a team and he just won a division and won another playoff game. So, and he was the offensive rookie of the year his rookie season. So you tell me what Daniel Jones has done close to that, then we can talk. But since you're not going to be able to say that, Let's just move on. Let's move on. Hey, on TikTok, y'all got to leave Boss Man alone. I think he's got issues. And all he does is come in here and tells me that Kansas State stinks every day. We love him, man. Leave that dude alone. Leave him alone. He's crazy. We love him in here every day. Giants are going to trade up for Caleb Williams. There's not a chance. Not a chance. There's no way Chicago is letting that go. They're not going to. They have to take a quarterback. Now, do they have to take Caleb Williams? No, they don't. I mean, if they took Drake May, if they took Jalen Daniels or Jaden Daniels, I wouldn't mind. But they got to take a quarterback. Have to. So, Chicago should trade down and draft an O-lineman. Well, they're going to take an O-lineman anyway with number 9. So, yeah, there's no way that Chicago or Washington are passing on a quarterback. That's not happening. That is not happening. So Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't work out or do anything at the combine. There's reports that he's not even really going to have a pro day. Y'all think it's a good fit if he goes to Arizona? Here's my thoughts. If he goes to Arizona, how many more years does Arizona stick with Kyler Murray? So we'll see, man. I don't know. Like, how many more years are they going to stick with him? Kyler's good. I mean, Kyler's okay. He's not horrible. He's better than Daniel Jones, I'll tell you that. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. I need to get off and stop bashing Daniel Jones. I apologize, Giants fans. Y'all feel the pain already. Y'all know he stinks. I'll let it go. So, Russ to the Steelers. No, I don't want Russ to the Steelers. Not yet. Let's explore some other options before we decide on if Russ is a good fit in Pittsburgh. We'll see. We'll see. My man, David Gonzalez, I just want to know when you're going to walk us through all the memorabilia behind you. That tells us a lot about you. I mean, I got Kansas State helmets. I got Louisville helmets. I got Pittsburgh helmets. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan, die hard. I'm a Louisville Cardinals fan, die hard. I'm a Kansas State fan. I went and played at Kansas State. That'll tell you who I am. And the reason I didn't go to Louisville is because when it was time for me to go to college, Louisville sucked, and I didn't want to go get my head beaten in every week. Period, point blank. That's the reason I didn't go to Louisville. I love Louisville with all my heart. I've been a die-hard fan my whole life. But they were horrible. So who the hell wants to go get their head beaten in? Not me. I didn't. Not at all. Baby Hands Pickett needs to go to the UFL. I don't think he needs to do that, but I think Baby Hands got problems. What's wrong with Pickett? He's not any good. That's what's wrong with him. So, Longhorn Nation. Hey, we played in 98. We played Texas. You should look it up. That didn't go well for the Heisman Trophy winner that day. It didn't go well for old Ricky Williams that day. Mike Evans stays in Tampa. I thought that Mike Evans would stay in Tampa because, first of all, why do you want to leave the weather and move out of Florida? Second, he didn't need to ring chase. He's already got a ring. And all he wanted to do was be paid. And I think Tampa just wanted to see, okay, is he still productive at his age? Clearly he is. So then they paid him. So I think that had a lot to do with it. My man, Pat Cockrell, how many teams from the Big 12 do you think make the Sweet 16 in March Madness? Unfortunately, I think it's going to be 3. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I think 3 will make it. I think Houston's going to make it because Houston is that good. I think Baylor is going to end up making it because Baylor's going to be able to outshoot teams. And Texas. Watch Texas. I know people, what are you talking about, B? Texas has the most talent of anybody in the Big 12. Watch Texas. Now, I think Iowa State has an outside chance too, but they don't shoot it as well as the other schools do. They also don't have a go-to guy that you can just give them the ball and they're going to go take a game home when the game's tied with 5 minutes to go. So, we'll see. We will see. Bucks won't repeat as the South champs. I mean, if Atlanta gets a competent quarterback, you're right. Hell, they wouldn't have won the division this year. If Atlanta had competent quarterback, Atlanta would have won it. Would I take Fields in Pittsburgh? Ask Matt Hasselbring on YouTube. I absolutely would. I mean, look, I am out on Baby Hands Pickett. I'm out. I am out. So, I mean, I'm done. 6 touchdown passes in 11 starts. I am done. And I don't want to hear that it was all Matt Canada's fault. I don't want to hear that. That ain't true. The Baby Hands is just not good. It's okay to say that, too. It's okay to say Kenny Pickett's just not that good. So, is Kelce the greatest center? He's in the conversation if he's not the best. He's absolutely in the conversation. Do you see Tua doing anything this coming season? Yeah. But they've got a defensive problem in Miami. So we'll find out how good they are. We'll find out. But I think Tua will be fine. I think Tua will be just fine. They got some other issues. People are blaming Tua like it's not Tua's fault. But if anybody thought they were going to Kansas City and winning a game where it was -30, you were out of your mind. You're out of your mind. There was no way they were winning a football game like that. So, would you say you had, or who did you say you had? Was it Creighton? I don't have Creighton winning, but I think Creighton's going to do some damage in the tournament. Beware of Marquette. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a little free advice. Beware of Marquette. And when I mean beware, I wouldn't have Marquette going very long in your bracket. So, speaking of bracket, the old Big B's guide to March Madness is going to be coming out here in the next day or so. They're going to be coming out, a Big B's guide to March Madness to help you all win your all's tournament. Win your bracket. Win you some money. Get you some bragging rights. $5 is all it's going to cost, people, when we get that thing out. Go pick you up one. I'll let you know when it comes out. We'll put the link in the guide and all that good stuff in the bio for the guide. It will just get you through. Help you win. You think JJ will be a star QB in the NFL? Hard to say. I think he's better than what people are giving him credit for because they're saying, well, he didn't throw a lot in college. Well, he wasn't asked to, and he didn't need to. You know? That doesn't mean he can't. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I just think or JJ McCarthy, I think, when you're on a team that runs the ball down people's throat, and that's how you win games, and they ask you, okay, we need you to make some throws every now and then, that doesn't mean you're not good. It just means, why put the ball in harm's way? Let's just run it, and when we need you to throw it, we'll ask you to do it. But other than that, make the game simple. And that's what Michigan did. They played outstanding defense. They ran the ball, and that's it. I think he's fine. And the whole thing about it is you don't even know whether he's really good. He hadn't been in a situation where he had to throw the ball 35 times in a game. That doesn't mean he can't. It just means you didn't see it in college. So that means they knew something. Oh, talking about Michigan cheating? I mean, okay. Just ran the ball. We're going to line up and run the ball at you. Don't you have to tackle them? That's all I know. So And people, that's so overblown. I don't even get into talking about it. He's Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy made plays when Brock Purdy needed to make plays. So Brock Purdy made some plays when they needed him to make plays. Uh-oh, I just saw something. Ooh, the Giants are not placing the franchise tag on Saquon. That just came across the ticker. So Saquon's going to be out in New York because I don't think they're going to sign him to a deal. I mean, they still can, but I don't think they're going to. So I don't think they're going to. It'll be interesting if they do. It'll be really interesting if they do. My whole thing is you could have done that all along, and you didn't. Or maybe they've had conversations with him and say, hey, man, we're going to make a deal work, but we're not going to put this franchise tag on you. There's no need to. And maybe they'll franchise somebody else. I don't think they will, because who else do they have that they need to franchise for the Giants? Yeah, they need an overhaul. I mean, again, they got a locker room trusting the management problem in New York, because that's where the issue comes in, is that the players are looking at the management like, you paid Daniel Jones this and you wouldn't pay Saquon, when you know Saquon is the reason that Daniel Jones is any good. You know that. And yet you chose not to pay him, pay this guy all this money when you didn't have to. And now it's bit you in the butt, and now you're starting over. It's pathetic. So, Justin Herbert, 2024 MVP. Not a chance. Not a chance. I am one of the people that said Justin Herbert's overrated. Ton of talent. And you can tell me that he set all these records as a rookie. Well, how does that equate to anything? You know? And everybody always says, oh, winning is a team stat. It's not a quarterback stat. Yeah, when you're splitting hairs and you're saying who's better than who, doesn't winning have to matter? I mean, what are we talking about? For instance, everybody, and I mean everybody that knows quarterback play, including quarterbacks, will tell you that Dan Marino is the most talented quarterback that ever played in the National Football League. Everybody will tell you that. But Dan Marino's name it never comes up in the greatest quarterback of all time. Why? Because he didn't win anything. And every now and then, you have to be able to do something. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? I guess my live's going to end on TikTok. They're saying they've detected inactivity. So, but it's going to end. But it is what it is. We're good. But yeah, I don't understand that. Nobody has ever said that Dan Marino was the best. Nobody. So it is what it is. That's my whole point with all of this. That's my point. You can't, at some point, you have to be able to win, regardless of what's on your team. You got to be able to win. You got to be able to do that. And by saying that you can't, or by saying that you won't because of your team, again, if you're playing on a lousy team, that's one thing. I don't think that the Chargers are lousy. I don't. I don't think they were lousy at all. I think they were actually good. Now, they had horrible head coaching. I know that. They had horrible head coaches. But I don't think they were a horrible football team. At some point, you got to make a difference. So